Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains August 8th through the 14th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Lowe's knows when you're looking for reliability, the right brand makes all the difference. And now, Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retailer for the Whirlpool water treatment line, including their Wi-Fi softener, under-sink filtration system, and more. With Whirlpool's proven performance and our everyday low prices, better tasting, better quality water is within reach. Shop pro-trusted brands like Whirlpool and more, in-store or online. Lowe's, we help, you save.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Super Sale and get 40% off paints and stains August 8th through the 14th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
On Valentine's Day in 2000, under the cover of a raging storm, Shelby's sweetheart slipped out of the house in the dead of night and vanished without a trace. In the 25 years since, the small town has been consumed by heartbreak and haunted by suspicion. The whispers never stopped, and neither did the search. Locals still believe that someone, somewhere, knows exactly what happened that night, but the silence has lasted a quarter of a century, and the truth remains just out of reach. Welcome to Without a Trace. I'm your host, Jalen. Every file holds a mystery. Every story deserves to be heard. This is Asha's story. On Valentine's Day in 1988, Harold and Aquila Degree married. Their son O'Brien was born a year later, and Asha was born on August 5, 1990. She was raised in a house on Oak Crest Drive in a residential subdivision among a generally rural area north of Shelby, North Carolina, on the western edge of the Charlotte metro area. Harold and Aquila both worked regular jobs nearby. Harold was a dock loader at PPG Industries, and Aquila built pianos for Kawai American Manufacturing. Asha attended the 4th grade at nearby Fallston Elementary School. She excelled in math and science and loved to read and write. She had dreams of being an illustrator and author when she grew up. Asha was an outstanding student and was regularly awarded Student of the Week at her school. The children let themselves into the home after school, where their parents expected that they would either be doing homework or finished with it by the time they returned home from work. Harold and Aquila made sure their children were insulated from outside influences and had a life centered around family, church, and school. The Degrees did not have a computer in the house in an attempt to shield the children from potential dangers. Aquila is quoted stating, "Every time you turn on the TV, there was some pedophile who had just lured somebody's child away via the internet." Asha handled the house rules well. She was a cautious and shy child who was content to stay within the limits her parents set for her. Aquila would later recall Asha was scared to death of dogs and never thought her daughter would leave the home. O'Brien and Asha were going into a 3-day weekend as the Cleveland County schools were closed on Friday, February 11th. Their parents still had to work, so the children spent the day at their aunt's house in the same neighborhood. They later went to their basketball practice at their school. The following day, Asha's basketball team lost their first game of the season. This was Asha's first year playing basketball. She was a point guard and, according to her brother, the team's star player. Though during this game, she had fouled out, likely causing the team to lose the game. Her parents recalled that she was somewhat upset about this, crying along with her teammates after, though Asha seemed to have gotten over it and watched her brother's game later that day. That night, Asha attended a sleepover along with about a dozen of her cousins, hosted by her 15-year-old cousin, Katina. On February 13th, a Sunday, the children went to church from a relative's house, then returned home. That evening, Asha, tired from the weekend with family and playing basketball, went to bed around 6:30 p.m. The rest of the family watched the NBA All-Star Game until the power went out around 8:30 p.m. due to a nearby car accident. Sometime later, a storm bringing lightning and high winds swept through the area, waking Asha. She joined the rest of the family in the living room, where Harold set up a kerosene heater. Around 9 p.m., both children went to bed in the room they shared. The power came back on at 2:30 a.m., at which time Harold turned off the kerosene heater and checked on his children and saw them both asleep in their beds. Shortly afterwards, O'Brien, then aged 10, recalled hearing Asha's bed squeak. He did not further rouse himself as he assumed she was merely changing positions in her sleep. Apparently around this time, Asha got out of bed, took a book bag she had previously packed with several sets of clothes and personal items, and left the house. Before Asha was reported missing, between 3:30 and 4:15 a.m., she was reportedly seen by multiple motorists. First, Roy Blanton Sr., then current truck driver, and former Cleveland County Sheriff's deputy, and his son, Roy Jr., saw someone walking down the highway. Roy Sr. recalls seeing a small figure whom he assumed was a woman. They didn't stop, but did warn other truck drivers in the area to be alert of a pedestrian via CB radio. Then, Jeff Roop, a truck driver, saw a little girl walking down the highway. He got a good look because he drove past her 3 times. The first time, he saw her and thought it was strange, so he turned around. The second time, as he was headed north and confirmed he did see a child. The third was as he headed back on his correct route. According to Roop, Asha looked like she knew where she was going and was walking at a pretty good pace. He then saw her run into the woods by the roadside and disappeared. It was a rainy night, and the witness said there was a storm raging when he saw her. He reported this to police after seeing a TV report about her disappearance. That morning at 5:45 a.m., Aquila woke up to get the children ready for school that morning. This involved drawing a bath for them because they had not been able to take one the night before due to the power outage. At 6:30 a.m., she opened the children's room to wake them up and call them to the bath. O'Brien was in his bed, but Asha was not. Aquila searched the house and the family cars outside, but could not find her. Panicked, she woke up Harold and called nearby family members to determine if Asha could be with them. She wasn't. At 6:30 a.m., Harold called 911 and reported his daughter missing. By 6:40 a.m., the first police officers had arrived on the scene. Missing from Asha's bedroom were the clothes she wore the day before, a white t-shirt with purple lettering that she made at the Degree family reunion, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. Also missing were her black book bag and a black purse with a Tweety bird on it. There was no sign of forced entry, and the house was locked. Asha had a key, which was kept in the black book bag. Aquila went through the neighborhood calling Asha's name, waking everyone by 7 a.m. Friends, family, and neighbors canceled their plans for the day to assist police in searching the vicinity, while the pastor of their church, along with other area clergymen, came to the Degrees' home to support them. Around 8:30 a.m., police officially began a full-scale search for Asha, opting to focus on a 3-mile radius of the Degrees' home. By noon, deputies had asked for the assistance of a North Carolina Highway Patrol helicopter with infrared heat detection. Search dogs were called to the scene but could not pick up her scent. By 2 p.m., State Bureau of Investigation agents arrived at the house. They taped off the front porch as a crime scene and allowed only immediate family members inside. Authorities interviewed staff and students at Asha's school and researched her neighborhood several times. Up to 60 volunteers from the area fire departments, the Red Cross, and concerned residents gathered at a nearby church where a command post was set up. That afternoon, investigators received 2 separate reports from Roy Sr. and Jeff Roop, who now knew the significance of the young female they saw walking along Highway 18 in the opposite direction of the Degrees' home around 4 a.m. County Sheriff Dan Crawford would later say, "We're pretty sure it was her because the descriptions they gave are consistent with what we knew she was wearing." He added that they also saw her at the same place heading the same direction. By the day's end, all that had been found was a mitten, which Aquila said did not belong to her daughter, noting that no winter clothing had been taken from the house. On Tuesday, February 15th, authorities continued their search for Asha. At 3:30 a.m., a roadblock was set up on the highway where Asha was last seen, in hopes of talking to people who regularly drove the route. 100 volunteers gathered to hunt the areas in a 3-mile radius, covering the ground that was looked at several times already. On Wednesday, February 16th, the air search, performed with helicopters and small aircraft, was called off early in the morning. On this day, Aquila realized that Asha's bedroom was missing her favorite clothing, including a pair of blue jeans with a red stripe. From Aquila's account of what Asha had taken with her, investigators believed she had planned and prepared for this departure over several days preceding her disappearance. A detective was quoted saying, "Apparently, she packed her bag prior to leaving, but the contents, from what we can tell, looked like something a child would pack rather than her parents preparing for an overnight stay." Though there were few clues about why Asha left her house on Valentine's Day, if she was upset about her poor performance at a basketball game the Saturday before her disappearance, it seemed to have dissipated by the next morning. Still, it was a crushing loss for Asha, her mom said, leading Aquila, Harold, and investigators to wonder if it may have spurred the competitive, intelligent 9-year-old to hatch some unknown plan. On Friday, February 18th, police discovered a pencil, green marker, and Mickey Mouse hairbow inside the doorway of an old tool shed along Highway 18. The shed sits only 100 yards or so west of the highway where Asha was last seen. Asha's parents confirmed these items belonged to Asha, bringing a renewed hope. Along with Asha's items, authorities also found a photo of a young black girl around Asha's age. The Degree family didn't recognize her, nor did staff at Asha's school. It is important to note that investigators were not sure whether the photo was related to Asha in any way. The girl in the photograph has yet to be identified. That evening, the Cleveland County Sheriff's Department received a tip that a young girl was seen walking near the railroad tracks along Highway 180, southeast of the previously reported sightings of Asha. This tip reportedly caused Aquila to be so short of breath that she had to be taken to the hospital. The tip produced nothing, but it was a reason for hope. On Sunday, February 20th, the search was called off. 9,000 man-hours had been invested in a search of the 3-mile radius where Asha was last seen. Flyers have been posted all over the area, and 300 leads have been submitted that ranged from possible sightings to tips about abandoned houses and wells where Asha might have ended up. Cleveland County Sheriff's Office Deputy Rob Roadcap said, "What we need now is for someone to call us with information. It's like she just vanished. But nothing in this investigation has been halted. I can promise you that. It's still a full-blown case." Police began investigating known child sex offenders as well as Asha's family, but found no information indicating their involvement. Police erected a full-size color billboard with a picture of Asha along the road where she was last seen. The billboard was intended to jog the recollections of people who might have more information about her disappearance. On Monday, February 21st, officials once again set up a roadblock along Highway 18. They stopped motorists for 3 hours, hoping someone might have seen her the night she disappeared. Asha's story spread through the nation. A segment about her aired on America's Most Wanted, while the Montel Williams Show featured her case. Then, in February 2001, Baron Ramsey, a former classmate of Aquila, stated that he was a passenger in the car that hit Asha and claimed he helped dispose of her body in Moss Lake near Kings Mountain. Baron Ramsey was an inmate at Mecklenburg County Jail who had a lengthy criminal record. He insisted to officials that he knew what happened. He and another Cleveland County man were headed back to Shelby on Rural Highway 18 early February 14th after buying drugs in Hickory. The other man was driving, and the pickup struck a girl as she crossed the road. He said the girl was alive when the driver put her in the back of the pickup. The driver then dropped Ramsey off at home and left with the girl. A few days later, the man returned to take Ramsey fishing on Moss Lake near King Mountain. Ramsey said he helped the other man dump the now-dead girl's body in the lake. Though authorities weren't able to verify anything he said, they spent months investigating his account of Asha's disappearance. Police were unable to find any evidence indicating Ramsey's story was true. On August 2, 2001, some 30 miles north of the last sighting, construction workers digging an access road for a new home in neighboring Burke County found Asha's black backpack. Her backpack was double-bagged in 2 plastic garbage bags. Inside was a concert t-shirt featuring boy band New Kids on the Block and a children's book by Dr. Seuss. The next day, police took the possession of the backpack. The backpack and items were sent to the FBI crime lab in Quantico for further forensic analysis. To date, it's the last evidence found in the case. A ground and aerial search was underway in the area where her backpack was found. Authorities covered a 3-mile area, and though they found no apparent leads, they called the search a success. For many years afterward, leads turned out to be dead ends. In 2004, acting on a tip reportedly received from an inmate at the county jail, the sheriff's office began digging at an intersection in Lawndale. The bones that were found turned out to be from an animal. Then, in 2015, the sheriff's office teamed up with the FBI in a top-to-bottom re-examination of the case. This turned up a possible lead. Asha may have been seen getting into a dark green 1970s model Lincoln Continental Mark IV or Ford Thunderbird with rust around the wheels. In November 2020, an inmate named Marcus Mellon, who had been convicted of sex crimes against children 6 years earlier, wrote a letter to the Shelby Star, claiming that Asha was murdered and he knew where to find her. In this letter, he wrote, "Asha Degree has been missing for over 20 years. About 4 months ago, I had found out about her whereabouts and what had happened to her. She was killed and then took and buried. I do know how and what town she's in. I hope you get this letter and do come see me. It's on the up and up." 2 months later, Cleveland County Sheriff Alan Norman announced that Mellon's claims had led to another dead end. In 2024, it was announced that authorities were making significant progress in the search for Asha. On September 10, 2024, investigators executed several search warrants at properties around Cleveland County. Police suspected Roy Dedmon and Connie Dedmon of obstructing justice, as well as participating in or rendering assistance in disposing of remains to conceal a crime. When the FBI analyzed DNA from Asha's items in her backpack, they found a hair on Asha's undershirt, and it was determined to belong to Anna Lee Dedmon, Roy and Connie's child. She was 13 when Asha disappeared. DNA from Russell Underhill was also found. Underhill lived in at least 2 properties operated by Roy and Connie Dedmon during the time Asha was reported missing. Russell Underhill passed away in 2004. Roy and Connie are the 2 common links between Russell Underhill and Anna Lee Dedmon. Due to the ages of Roy and Connie's 3 daughters in the year 2000, investigators believed adult assistance from Roy and Connie would have been necessary in the execution and/or concealment of Asha's homicide. On September 10, 2024, investigators interviewed Roy and Connie's daughter, Sarah. Sarah drove a green 1964 AMC Rambler when she was 16, given to her by her father in 1999. Sarah's Rambler was very similar to the 1970s model green Lincoln Thunderbird that a witness saw Asha being pulled into. Police seized the 1964 AMC Rambler, which had front-end damage. On September 18, 2024, Thad Valentine went to the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office and spoke with detectives about the case. He told detectives that when he was in his 20s in the mid-2000s, he occasionally frequented bars and parties with Sarah and Lizzie Dedmond. Dad recalled one party when Lizzie was sobbing and bawling and made several statements that she killed Asha. After these drunken confessions, Sarah grabbed Lizzie's head and told her to shut up. Investigators contacted Lizzie Dedmond and informed her that they wanted to speak with her. Lizzie began spending a significant amount of time on her cell phone, communicating with her family. Her cell phone was taken in as evidence, and investigators noted several messages of interest. "This is a nightmare. I'm like shaking and can't walk now," Sarah texted Lizzie. "They think it's our shirt. It's not her shirt. Her mom said it wasn't hers. I don't remember that shirt. I'm scared though. Dad is probably going to be a huge suspect." Anna Lee texted her sister Lizzie, "You don't need to be talking to anyone," urging her to break off communication about the case without an attorney present. Lizzie continued sending texts saying, "I'm just so worried, so worried. I mean, it's a nightmare that's going to keep getting worse. I can see nothing good happening anytime soon, and I'm an optimist. There is no way this is going to be okay." Lizzie again texted Sarah saying investigators believed she could be the suspect, writing, "The theory is I did it. Accident covered it up." More text messages sent by Lizzie stated, "I caused this," as Lizzie continued to state she felt horrible. After refusing to take a polygraph test in September 2024, Lizzie agreed to take one in February 2025. She was asked whether she was concealing information and was found to be deceptive. Lizzie also made a statement, "If my dad did it, he did it, but I had nothing to do with it." The case remains an open investigation with a local detective reviewing leads, old and new, and FBI investigators from the Charlotte field office consolidating and combing through case files for unexpected patterns or clues. Like Asha's mother, investigators believe someone in the area holds the key that could unlock the case. Cleveland County Sheriff's Office Detective Tim Adams came out of retirement in 2014 to lead the department's investigation. He stated, "We strongly believe that there is someone out there that may have a piece of information that will help her." Asha Degree has been called Shelby's sweetheart. She's a child that everyone in her community feels is one of their own, and her community wants to help find out what happened to her. Thank you for listening to Without a Trace with your host, Jillian. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Asha's disappearance. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe and follow Without a Trace on social media. Join me next week as I dive into another case.